The sky suddenly darkened, a deathly silence spread, covering the ground in an eerie stillness. The air seemed to stop breathing, as the ground suddenly shook violently, and the howling winds seemed to be rising from the wrath of nature. It was the wrath of nature, a nightmare that was coming, engulfing the whole world under a hateful gaze. In this terrifying moment, as prayers were raised, let us find the answer to what was happening in today's video. A terrifying scene unfolded as tons of rocks and soil from a mountainside suddenly collapsed, engulfing a road in southwest China in chaos. I witnessed the road in Mianyang, Sichuan province. At around 6:40 p.m. the rumbling sound and strong shaking made everything seem to be swallowed up in the wrath of nature. Truck reverses to escape landslide. A serious landslide occurred in southern China, causing a series of mountain rocks to fall down and completely paralyzing road traffic. The terrifying moment, a massive landslide rolled down a mountain and onto a road in Nepal, was caught on camera. While most people were running away from the landslide, some people got very close to film the event to post on social media. Luckily, they were able to escape and evacuate in time. Houses collapsed down a hill after a landslide triggered by heavy monsoon rains in Shimla, in the northern Indian state of Himachal Pradesh, killing at least one person and leaving many others feared trapped. A second passed, and then the building in Mizoram suddenly collapsed in a terrifying sight. The building was completely destroyed in a split second. The rumbling sound of crumbling concrete made me feel extreme fear. A multi-story building has collapsed in Shimla, the capital of Himachal Pradesh in India. The multi-story building tilted dangerously before collapsing onto at least one other house. A landslide caused a house to collapse down a small hill following a landslide in Nagasaki City, Japan. Japan, a major landslide was reported in Atami, 65 miles west of Tokyo. About 20 people are missing after a landslide swept away homes in Atami City, causing extensive property damage following the disaster. Video shows landslide on Peruvian highway. Bus passengers filmed the moment large boulders slid down the mountainside in Ayacucho and blocked their path. No one was injured in the incident. A powerful storm hit central California on January 9th, causing landslides and flash floods across the region. The powerful storm caused landslides and flooding in California. The landslide caused old forest trees to fall down. Many houses, trees, and cars were submerged in water. It has been raining for many days, causing serious landslides. If you notice, most of the trees here are cultivated plants. Previously, these hills were densely covered with many species of trees, but now they have been heavily damaged. A terrible landslide happened in India, causing the incident. It broke the road at the foot of the mountain, a solid bridge of the people. Nature is so fierce. Villagers of Magre Mohala and Karangal Panchayat of J.K. had a lucky escape when a massive landslide occurred just above their village, uprooting a perennial tree. A terrifying landslide on a narrow canyon road in India. Tons of earth and rocks fell onto the national highway. Hundreds of vehicles are seriously jammed. A terrible landslide in Taiwan. The car was backing up in panic. Hundreds of tons of rocks and soil fell down on the small road. Fortunately, no one was injured. Did you see the black car? It just escaped the clutches of Mother Nature. So scary. Please comment your feelings in the comment section to let me know about this incident. One night there was a landslide in Seward. Luckily for this car, the dirt and rocks fell onto the highway. The Three Gorges Dam in China's Hubei province was forced to open 9 floodgates after a massive landslide on the slopes of Yangguan village in Guizhou City, Zigui County. Half of the mountainside collapsed, leaving nearby residents in a state of shock. A landslide caused by heavy rains in China swept away part of a parking lot in China along with a car parked there. It was terrifying. Video captures the moment a landslide crashed onto a scooter rider. Heavier than usual rains in southern China have caused widespread damage as floods and landslides left many families homeless. A section of mountain was blown away after a landslide. A man blocked 15 cars that were driving forward 10 minutes before the landslide happened. Lucky. Imagine a world where the sky turns black with fury, where the ground shudders in terror beneath our feet, and the winds howl with unprecedented force, signaling the wrath of Mother Nature. That is when the world faces its most terrible revenge. Our next journey is here. Buckle up and get ready to face this nightmare. A ferocious tornado struck Lincoln, Nebraska, like a ferocious waterspout monster. The sight was horrific. The winds twisted and turned, sucking up everything in its path. Livestock were swept away like little toys by the fury of nature, and farms were torn apart beyond recognition. The force of the destruction was terrifying, turning everything into rubble in an instant. In China, specifically in Haishui County, Aba County, Sichuan Province, a landslide occurred due to 60 millimeters of rain in just 2 hours on June 20th. A devastating tornado outbreak in Nebraska spawned a terrifying chain of tornadoes that blocked the path of multiple hurricanes. From Lincoln, Nebraska to Harlan, Iowa, these tornadoes not only struck with devastating force, but also created a haunting display of nature. Their uncontrolled destruction left a lasting mark, turning the region into a sea of storm and destruction.
All right, keep going. Slow down a little bit. It's getting strong. Really strong. Slow down. Stop. Stop. Stop.
When nature was at its worst, a terrifying tornado swept across the United States, causing massive devastation and pummeling the country with heavy rain and strong winds. The violent winds swirled, destroying everything in their path, and the constant downpour of rain only added to the disaster. The scene was terrifying as nature displayed unimaginable destructive power. The craziest and most terrifying tornado in recent memory was the EF3 tornado that hit Andover, Kansas on April 29, 2022. The terrifying scene was captured in part by a Dominator drone, creating haunting images. The sound of the storm was muted so as not to frighten the faint-hearted, but the devastation caused by the tornado was unimaginable. Despite the extensive damage and the impact on nearly 1,000 structures, miraculously no one died in the storm. This proves the effectiveness and importance of the tornado warning system in protecting lives from the destructive power of nature. The tornado was like a waterspout, sucking everything it passed through into the sky, creating a terrifying scene. The fierce winds twisted, swirled, and sucked into the air all objects in its path, turning everything into debris in an instant. The scene not only made people clearly feel the destructive power of nature, but also left indescribable fear. The people here, with eyes full of horror, watched the fierce winds swirl, sucking everything up like small toys before the destruction of nature. Roofs were blown away, fields were submerged in the storm, and objects, from cars to trees, were swept away at breakneck speed. Every time the tornado twisted, every sound was muffled by its power. The people stood still, their hearts pounding in panic. They could only watch, helpless before the terrible destructive power. They felt like everything around them was being turned into debris flying into the sky, and all they could do was pray for the safety of themselves and those around them. The tornado that struck near Capitol, Montana on June 28, 2018 was a chilling sight. I still remember the image of this ferocious storm growing and spawning a series of terrifying tornadoes. These tornadoes sucked everything in their path into their violent vortex, and the Capitol tornado, the largest and most powerful of them all, was a true monster. The giant tornado roared, sweeping everything up into the sky as if it had no weight. The feeling of witnessing that scene through my own eyes made my heart beat wildly, as if standing before the uncontrollable force of nature. Nepalese people could only stand in horror as a man on a motorbike was swept away by raging floodwaters. They raced against time, trying to get him out of the water before he was completely swept away. In the terrifying scene, a brave Samaritan did not hesitate to face the raging river, brave the waves to pull the man out of danger. Floodwaters are rolling in like a giant wave, swallowing a bridge in Nepal, creating a terrifying scene that puts people living nearby in extreme danger. Landslides that sent tons of rock and dirt crashing onto roads killed at least 37 people in Colombia, sending cars crashing into ravines. Flash flooding carrying a wall of debris down Camp Creek, 31st and Valley Road footbridge. Colorado Springs, CO, August 10th. The creek is usually just a trickle, unless it rains. It runs out of the mountains above town and into a concrete channel that runs about 7 blocks. The Bagmati River, with its enormous flow, is witnessing a terrible flash flood in Nepal. Millions of cubic meters of water are rushing down, creating unimaginable destructive power. This natural disaster not only causes huge waves, but also sweeps away everything in its path, leaving the surrounding area in a state of chaos and danger. A small tornado occurred in a nearby field, sending trash and debris flying around. While the scene left many people terrified, a group of children in the nearby area were excited to see the strange sight they had never seen before. Melting snow has unleashed a devastating disaster as a massive wall of water has crashed into parts of western Nepal, causing unimaginable devastation. The ferocious sight of the torrents sweeping away everything in their path has left at least 13 people dead. The devastation is not only a painful shock, but also a revelation of the terrible power of nature. Welcome back to the challenge of nature. In today's video, we take you through some of the most terrifying and haunting moments from some of the most terrifying natural disasters. Each shot is a testament to the brutality and power of Mother Nature. Get ready to discover events that change the world, reminding us of the incredible power that nature can unleash. Don't forget to subscribe to the Challenge of Nature and leave your comments below. Kapach Lake, the world's lowest glacial lake located in Kaski district, Nepal, witnessed a horrific avalanche. Thick layers of snow fell from the mountains, creating a majestic and terrifying scene. Japan, a country that often faces natural disasters, witnessed one of its worst tsunamis on March 11, 2011. After a massive earthquake with a magnitude of 9.0 struck off the Pacific coast, a massive tsunami hit Kuji Port, Iwate Prefecture. Waves over 10 meters high not only swept away everything in their path, but also left behind devastating consequences, destroying infrastructure and causing serious loss of life and property. The tsunami was a clear demonstration of the uncontrollable power of nature and human vulnerability to its devastation. Chasing a terrible storm from Lincoln to Omaha, Nebraska, and Dominator 3 captured close-up footage of a violent tornado in eastern Nebraska. The storm, which occurred on May 22, 2004, produced powerful tornadoes with winds of up to 200 miles per hour. Severe damage was reported west of Omaha and along I-80 near Lincoln, where buildings were flattened and entire neighborhoods were completely destroyed. The footage shows the destructive power of tornadoes and the frailty of humans in the face of nature's fury. Just as everything was quiet, a terrifying tornado suddenly struck, carrying with it unimaginable destructive power. The fierce winds tore down houses and trees. Leaving behind rubble and devastation. The devastating flash flood swept away everything in the mountains, destroying the only bridge the people had. When the flood hit, the bridge was completely destroyed, leaving behind an unimaginable tragedy. With the bridge as the only way to get around, the people now faced complete isolation and unforeseen hardships. On February 4, 2021, a massive avalanche engulfed the Kakar Mountains in Turkey, destroying many homes. The avalanche occurred after a period of warm weather and heavy rainfall, which melted the snow and led to a violent collapse of the snowpack, with up to 20 meters of snow causing unimaginable devastation. Heavy rains in China's Guangxi Zhuang Autonomous Region triggered a massive landslide that destroyed this house. Fortunately, residents were evacuated in time and no casualties were reported. The devastation still shows the fierce power of nature and the importance of disaster preparedness. A small flash flood carried a large amount of debris into the valley, but the devastation was still evident as the waters carried tons of waste, polluting the environment and making cleanup difficult. A massive rock slide down a hillside has destroyed a mountain road, causing a major traffic jam. Huge boulders have fallen and blocked a long line of vehicles, creating a chaotic and urgent scene as vehicles are unable to move. A mountainside road was severely eroded, with half of the road swept down into the valley. The devastation highlighted the fragility of the road and the importance of watching for signs of landslides. A giant sinkhole is constantly expanding, with millions of cubic meters of water pouring in. The scene is terrifying as the deep hole not only swallows everything in its path, but also causes unimaginable devastation. The floods in India have brought tons of mud and debris, creating scenes of devastation everywhere, causing serious damage to infrastructure and severely affecting people's lives. The bridge could not withstand the force of the flash floods and gradually collapsed under the pressure. The scene was tragic as sections of the bridge were washed away, leaving a large gap and irreparable devastation. While this guy was skiing, a huge avalanche suddenly occurred. Luckily for him, he was not buried, although the surrounding scene was completely washed away and buried under thick snow. Hundreds of tons of mud are about to swallow this road, creating a scene of anxiety and tension. With the huge amount of mud, the road is at risk of being completely buried under the thick layer of mud. Horrible. Can you guess what happens next? The landslide completely destroyed half the road and dozens of cars. What would happen to these houses if this whole mountain collapsed? If the entire mountain collapsed, the houses would be buried under a huge mass of earth and debris. Most structures would be completely destroyed, leaving no trace of them. Half of the mountain collapsed right before my eyes, creating a terrifying and unbelievable scene. Rocks and debris poured down in a torrent. Oh my God, look what happened. The flash flood turned houses into floating islands. Roads and surrounding areas were completely submerged, leaving only houses surrounded by water, creating a majestic yet tragic scene. Is this house walking down the mountain? People could only cover their faces and cry before the natural disaster, which swept away their homes. The scene was majestic as the giant mountain was falling into the sea. Huge rocks and soil fell down, creating an impressive display of natural power. What happened? Looks like another landslide. A landslide was slowly taking place, gradually collapsing and destroying the road at the foot of the mountain. Huge chunks of earth and rock kept falling down, deforming the road and causing severe devastation. The scene showed the brutal power of nature as it changed the landscape in unimaginable ways. Another road was completely submerged by the disaster. The landslide carried tons of earth and rock, burying the road under mud and debris. Luck smiled on those cars. The house collapsed completely in just a few seconds. The black car would have been buried eventually, if only a few seconds later. The mountains continued to collapse. The power of Mother Nature was terrifying. Huge blocks of rock and earth fell with unimaginable devastation, engulfing everything. Are these lucky cars? A limestone mountain just collapsed. I think you should be careful when driving on mountain roads. The house was swept down the mountain by the landslide, but fortunately, no one was in the house at the time, leaving behind only devastation and destruction. This is a landslide off the beach. Welcome back to the challenge of nature. In today's video, we take you through some of the most terrifying and haunting moments from some of the most horrific natural disasters. Each and every shot is a testament to the sheer brutality and power of Mother Nature. Get ready to discover events that have changed the world, reminding us of the incredible power that nature can unleash. Don't forget to subscribe to the challenge of nature and leave your comments below. The sea is roaring, giant waves crashing against the shore with brutal force. The shore is dwarfed by the ocean's fury. A flash flood of thick snow had rolled down, creating an endless white path. Snow covered everything, turning the landscape into a majestic yet terrifying natural picture. Just a small wave from Mother Nature is enough to make these boats constantly rock. The hidden power in each wave is amazing. The snow from the mountaintop rushed down like a white river, strong and uncontrollable. The whole mountain shook under this brutal force. Snow rolled down the mountain, engulfing everything in its path. The tidal wave was roaring, crashing into the shore with unstoppable force. The sea water rose, engulfing everything in its path. Huge blocks of snow poured down from above like a white wave. Its terrible power was truly terrifying and unpredictable. Each wave crashed onto the shore like a punch from the ocean. The water sprayed white foam, causing the shore to shake under the terrible force. Anyone who witnessed this scene would have been extremely bewildered and scared to see the giant rock falling with irresistible force. A milky white wave in Sweden keeps crashing against the shore. This strange and enchanting sight looks like the sea is rolling in gentle anger. In the Carpathian Mountains, from the Gerlach Peak, thousands of tons of thick snow fell with irresistible force. Everything at the foot of the mountain seemed to be engulfed in nature's fury. The waves of water undulate like silk ribbons in the sunlight, creating a truly enchanting and beautiful scene. Their charm captivates all eyes. On the slopes of Mount Taranaki in New Zealand, thousands of tons of rock and soil are rolling down with unimaginable force. The sight is truly overwhelming, as if the entire mountain is breaking apart. On the coast of Galveston, Texas, giant waves weighing tons continuously crashed into the shore, turning the coastal road into a chaotic sea of water. Their movements are truly unimaginable. In the Rocky Mountains, massive snowdrifts from Denali's Peak are thundering down, turning the entire mountainside into a raging icy torrent. The force of it is terrifying. I don't know what they are bathing in. Please comment below and let me know. Thanks for sharing. In the Carpathians, from the peak of Gerlach, thousands of tons of thick snow are pouring down with irresistible force. Everything at the foot of the mountain seems to be submerged in the fury of nature. Do you think these dogs will be washed out to sea? Huge waves weighing tons continuously crashed into the shore, turning the coast into a chaotic sea of water. The power of these waves was truly terrifying. At the Patagonian Glacier, a massive, multi-million-ton mass of snow is breaking away from the ice, leaving a huge and dramatic gap. Climate change is causing things to change rapidly, creating a majestic but also troubling scene.
Okay.
On rough seas, giant waves become rolling mountains of water, engulfing everything in their path, creating a terrifying and threatening sight. These people still seem to have no understanding of the destructive power of nature. They stood there, as if waiting for something, completely unaware of the wrath that was about to strike. At Bondi Beach in Sydney, powerful waves weighing hundreds of tons continuously crashed into the shore, causing the coastal road to be submerged in water and in chaos. The scene was truly overwhelming and powerful. Is this a flash flood of rocks? A huge mass of snow and rock from the Matterhorn is falling into the valley below. The sight is truly overwhelming and dangerous. Heavy rains and flash floods have submerged entire regions in India, creating a chaotic and massive scene, as everything is covered in a sea of water with no end in sight. At the top of Montserrat Mountain in Spain, millions of tons of rock and soil are falling down the hillside, sweeping away everything in its path. The scene is like nature's fury, truly terrifying. On Italy's Amalfi coast, A giant wave weighing millions of liters of water is washing away an entire coastal road. These people still despise Mother Nature. On Mount Etna in Italy, a massive avalanche is occurring, carrying tons of snow and rocks, blocking all roads and creating a scene of devastation. Some lucky people have escaped with their lives. An avalanche weighing several tons crashed down, creating a terrifying scene as thick snow covered everything at the foot of the mountain. Welcome back to the challenge of nature. Today, we take you into the darkest and most haunting moments where Mother Nature shows her strength, even cruelty. Each scene is a reminder of the impermanence of life and the immense power that nature holds. Join us as we explore the terrifying disasters that have shaken the world. And don't forget to subscribe to the challenge of nature so you don't miss a moment. In the mountains of Himachal Pradesh, India, a massive flash flood swept away millions of tons of earth and rock, creating a giant wave that engulfed everything in its path. The scene was stunning and devastating. In the Rocky Mountains of Colorado, a massive avalanche swept millions of tons of snow down from the mountaintop, creating a massive snow wave that buried everything at the foot of the mountain. In the Swiss Alps, tons of snow collapsed from above, creating a giant avalanche that swept down, turning the entire area into a giant, destructive sea of white. This wave seemed to be gliding across the sea like a monster searching for prey, sweeping away everything in its path. This giant tsunami was like an ocean monster, prowling and looking for targets to swallow. Millions of tons of water rolled up, threatening and destroying everything in sight. In the Himalayas of Nepal, a massive landslide swept tons of rock and soil from the top of a mountain, creating a giant river that destroyed the road below. The devastation was immeasurable and shocking to those who witnessed it. On the coast of Lisbon, Portugal, fierce waves continuously crashed in, carrying millions of liters of seawater, submerging the coastal road. At New Zealand's Fox Glacier, giant icebergs are melting and cracking. A landslide blocked the road for many vehicles. The tsunami waves were tens of meters high, like a wall of water on the Chinese coast. Looks majestic. On the top of Jintong Mountain in China, a giant landslide occurred, sweeping away tons of soil and rocks, completely burying the road at the foot of the mountain. Look, it's falling down. This bridge seems to be very strong against the attack of flood water. They are rolling down. What will it destroy? Look at that bridge. Giant waves continuously crashed into the mainland, washing away millions of cubic meters of seawater. Will there be an avalanche with him? Oh my God, God bless him. Luckily, he was not buried. They look so scary. If we go near them, we might be swept into the sea. Look at that man. What do you see? He is still there. Do you find these interesting? Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to support me. Do you see any rocks about to fall? Look at the dogs. Can they run before the wave hits? Wow, that's interesting. Oh my God, what if a car runs over? Look at the size of these two rocks. On the Vatnajökull Glacier in Iceland, melting ice causes large chunks of ice to crack and fall. Is this road being cleared? Look at that giant mountain range. Looks like it's about to fall. In the Andes Mountains of Chile, flash floods turned into a giant fury, bringing millions of tons of earth and rock crashing down. The scene was truly devastating and full of natural power. Will the yacht be swallowed by the waves? It looks beautiful. At Mount Mi, China, thick layers of rock and soil from the mountainside collapsed into a giant landslide. If you stood there, how would you feel? Greenland's Ilulissat Glacier is experiencing massive melting, with huge chunks of ice cracking and crashing down. That rock is dangerous. Would you like to see the waves in a place like this? Isn't it beautiful? Mount Etna in Italy, rock and soil from above collapsed into a giant landslide. Hailstorms in China's Hunan province have turned into a nightmare as giant stones fell like bullets. Stones as big as tennis balls have destroyed roofs and damaged everything in their path. Welcome to the challenge of nature. Today, we bring you haunting and realistic footage of some of the most terrifying natural disasters. Each image is a testament to the uncontrollable power of nature, reminding us of our insignificance in the face of the wrath of the heavens. Prepare yourself for some dramatic moments, and don't forget to subscribe to the Challenge of Nature for more videos.
Yeah, I can drive right now, so I'm gonna try to get out of here.
The typhoon hit Shanghai with winds of up to 150 kilometers per hour, turning everything into a vast watery sea. Rain lashed the buildings like whips, making it impossible to walk through the fury of nature. Roads were flooded, traffic was completely paralyzed. What is that man doing? Indonesia's Mount Merapi erupted, spewing hot lava and billowing plumes of black smoke. Millions of tons of boiling lava poured out, creating a giant curtain of fire that engulfed the surrounding area. The ground shook, and everything seemed to be engulfed in flames.
It's almost here.
On the Gobi Plateau in Mongolia, a sandstorm began to rage, howling winds carrying millions of tons of yellow sand. The sky gradually disappeared in a thick layer of dust. The view became a blurry void. Everything was engulfed in the fury, unable to escape the terrible force of nature. A massive dust storm has hit the streets of Arizona. Millions of tons of sand are rolling and spreading, turning the land into a blinding desert. Visibility is reduced to just a few meters, forcing people to seek shelter in terror. On the coast of Lisbon, Portugal, fierce waves continuously crashed, carrying millions of liters of seawater. Look at these waves, they are scary. In the suburbs of Oklahoma, this black tornado whipped up powerful winds, sending tons of trash and dust flying, obscuring the sky. Who would have thought that nature could become such an invisible, terrifying enemy? What is this? Can you tell me? Write it down in the comments. A massive flash flood in an Oregon neighborhood swallowed a house in an instant. Millions of cubic meters of water and rock rushed through, leaving everything in ruins. A road along the Rhine River in Germany suddenly disappeared under the raging waters of a powerful flash flood. Millions of cubic meters of water rushed up, sweeping away everything in its path, leaving behind a terrifying and shocking scene. A terrible storm hit Texas, USA, bringing strong winds and white rain like a giant wall of water. Heavy hailstones hit the roof, breaking the tiles. The whole area was immersed in the roar of nature. On the coast of Cornwall, England, giant waves tens of meters high are crashing onto the shore, as if wanting to swallow the entire village next door. On the A3 motorway in Germany, rocks fell from the sky with incredible force. As strong winds whipped the hail at cars, the constant impact cracked windshields and brought every vehicle to a halt in panic. The Norwegian coast faced the wrath of the sea, as waves tens of meters high crashed, sweeping away everything on the shore. Coastal houses were no longer standing. At Mount St. Helens volcano in Washington, USA, giant columns of gray smoke are rising into the sky with terrifying force. Each of these thick columns of smoke, thousands of meters high, creates a scene both majestic and terrifying, as if the whole earth is roaring before the ultimate power of nature. On Mount Etna volcano in Sicily, Italy, heavy, gray columns of smoke, as thick as a smoke storm, roll to soaring heights. These are the gentle waves we all love, right? The column of smoke, several dozen meters high and heavy, stirred the air, looking really scary. The Jostedalsbreen Glacier in Norway is witnessing an incredible scene as tons of ice slowly melt away, large, floating stones on the water. These waves carry hundreds of cubic meters of water and submerge an area. In Munich, Germany, hailstones hit residential areas, with tennis ball-sized stones weighing hundreds of grams falling with tremendous force. High winds made the hailstones an unavoidable strike, destroying cars and windows. This couple will probably remember this wedding photo shoot forever. Heavy rain in West Germany. On the coast of Brittany, France, powerful waves from the Atlantic Ocean crashed onto the shore like giant monsters. Millions of liters of water rushed in, creating a terrifying scene that no one will ever forget. The Norwegian coast faced the wrath of the sea, as waves tens of meters high crashed in, sweeping away everything on the shore. Beijing's main street was flooded after a day of heavy rain. Winds were so strong that parked cars were pushed aside and water rushed into every corner. The sea water rose and flooded the shore, covering the road and surrounding areas in a vast sea of water. These floods are truly terrifying, sweeping away everything in their path. In the Dolomites, Italy, a horrific landslide occurred when half a mountain collapsed, creating a giant landslide with millions of tons of rock and soil. Giant ocean waves continuously crashed into the shore with unimaginable force. Waves tens of meters high continuously collided. Huge columns of gray smoke rose into the sky with terrible force. Each of these dense columns of smoke, thousands of meters high. The ocean is showing Mother Nature's anger through huge waves continuously attacking the shore. The powerful waves crash into the shore with unimaginable force. The Vatnajökull Glacier in Iceland is melting rapidly. The sea is raging off the coast of Galveston, Texas, with the terrible force of Mother Nature. Huge waves keep crashing into the shore, each collision like a powerful shock. This earthquake took place in Japan. The ocean shows the wrath of Mother Nature through the huge waves that continuously crash onto the shore. The terrible power of the waves causes the sea water to overflow and turn the coastal road. The raging flood was sweeping away everything in its path, including boats. Continue to be the waves in the sea. How do you feel it? Don't miss out on future video updates. Hit subscribe and let us know what you think in the comments below. Stay safe and take care.